Where do you think that goes down in Bellator history for moments?
I mean, that honestly was spectacular. I mean, you guys felt the energy in that room. I mean, it was electric in there, and it had that big time, championship fight feeling. And AJ did his thing, man. He was impressive. I mean, I've seen Pitbull fight for many years, and AJ did what he had to do, took care of business, and it's won the tournament, won the $1 million. I think he's very happy right now.
And I know you love talking about when you first met him, and you use him as a great example of your prospect development. But did that performance even surprise you a little bit with how quick and dominant it was?
Yeah, the very beginning of that fight, I thought Pitbull was trying to lure him in, and just kind of lure him in to start throwing his hands and start putting some power on him. But I think that AJ completely dominated the fight, and then I think, pretty much he was out, and then he was out again. It seemed like that, he got choked out, and it was, it wasn't his night. Pitbull's a great fighter. He's been a great champion. I mean, AJ is just, he's a rising star that became a big star tonight.
Hey, Scott, right back here. Obviously, a lot of talk going into the fight was that if AJ wins, the possibility of running it back at 155 for Pitbull's title. Just your initial thoughts on that strategy, or what you might have in mind for the future.
That's something that I know AJ has talked to me about it. His dad has talked to me about it, and but we haven't talked to Pitbull. I mean, listen, give the kid a little break. I'm talking about Pitbull. Give him a little break. Let him see what he wants to do. But we're gonna start making some calls maybe in a week or so and see what his feeling on that is. But there will be a time where he's gonna have to defend it, and I've heard rumblings that AJ, this might be his last fight at 45, that he's having a hard time making weight. So he might have to go up to 55 and fight up there. But that's something that he'll have to decide. His father and his coaches will have to decide, and it's just too premature to really determine that right now.
As the promoter, how do you build on just this moment for AJ McKee? He's already been, the homegrown star. Just how do you, I guess, what is your part now in getting him even further out there and letting more people know just how special this kid is?
I mean, I think that if you look at the promotion behind this fight, I mean, I think that the PR team, the digital team, Showtime, everybody did, all parts I felt were really in alignment, and they did a great job promoting this fight. And I think you saw it here today. I mean, it was so nice to have fans here and to feel the energy. I mean, could you imagine if this fight was in a no audience event? I mean, place where we had to do it. I mean, it wouldn't have been the same. And so, to me, AJ had a lot of fans here. You could hear him, was passionate, and it was a great night.
The undercard felt like it was developing into Bellator Dagestan with Hassan, obviously Magomed Sharipov, Usman, Islam. Just can you talk a little bit about how everyone performed? And a lot of the guys seem to be, targeting that Fedor card in Moscow. Just your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, we invited Usman to fight in Moscow because I don't think he's injured. So I talked to his manager before he left, said, we're looking forward to having you fight again. We just want to keep him busy and keep him fighting, keep him developing. And, listen, the fighters from that region have proven that they are dangerous and have, fought many different places and had dominance in a lot of areas. So to me, it's something that we're going to find the stars or the fighters that we want to build or have them compete in Bellator, and we're going to continue to fight him. And I think you just saw a few tonight. And if you talk about the Russia card, I mean, I think we probably have 15, 20 really good Russian athletes, CIS territory athletes, and they're dangerous athletes over there. So we're looking for the world's best, and they're from that region as well.
And speaking of that Russian card and also, potentially other abroad cards, are you worried about the rising COVID cases and those cards actually happening? Is there any backup plan in case that doesn't happen?
I'll tell you, we are monitoring it closely, obviously. I mean, when we planned our France event, Paris event last year, when we planned it, it was half capacity. We're going to have 9,000-10,000 people there. And then COVID hit, started getting rising, and we started getting cut. It was down to 1,000 people by the time we got there. And then the week after, there was nobody allowed to even come to the country. So, we're going to be monitoring it. Hopefully, like in the UK, it's fully open. I think they're 85% vaccinated in the UK. So I feel good about that event. In Russia, I know they're doing what they need to do, and my feeling is that will be fully, a full scale event like this was. And maybe they might have some protocols with masks and things like that. But believe me, Vicom is really about protocols and making sure that all of our athletes and our staff, our production team is safe. So that's gonna be the number one priority moving forward. And if it changes, then we'll adapt. But right now, it's full steam ahead.
Would it be possible to take that entire card if you can't go to Russia, bring it back to Connecticut, or is that just?
Yeah. I mean, I think about if that Russia card, because listen, Fedor wants to fight, and these guys want to fight, so we're going to fight them. And so if Russia, if they're on lockdown and COVID starts ramping up to the point where we can't do it there, then of course we would find an alternate location. If it was something that we felt was going to be a long-term situation and we couldn't postpone it, let's say a month or two. But to me, we're gonna fight those guys, and if Russia doesn't work out, maybe we come back to New York or the Chicago area.
Hey, Scott, down here to your left. You watched a lot of Patricio Pitbull fights in your career here in Bellator, and he'd only been finished one time before, and it was an injury against Benson Henderson in 2016. And AJ, beat him in 2 minutes and looked dominant. I mean, how do you put that into words exactly?
It's spectacular. I mean, this kid is dynamite, and I think that I always felt, even AJ in his last 3 or 4 fights, I felt that he was going to be a big star for Bellator, and he himself is recognizing how his ability has grown and who he can fight, and he's got a lot of confidence. This kid's got a lot of swagger. But I'll tell you, he had a lot of swagger when I met him at 17. So this is nothing for him. He's always believed in this. He's always had this as part of his destiny. Growing up in his dad's school at 3 or 4 years old, and just growing up in the MMA community, this is nothing new for him. So he had a spectacular showing. It's probably one of the greatest finishes, I think, in the history of this company. And he fought a guy that was a killer. So this is not like he's fighting some guy that's just a contender. I mean, he's fighting a guy that has been the champ since we signed him back in 2014. So for the last 6-7 years, Pitbull's been the champ, and AJ's been growing and growing and growing. This was his opportunity to shine, and he took advantage of it.
Yeah, Scott, sorry, I need a microphone. Scott, just carrying on from what Mark Raimondi was saying about AJ. It's the people, isn't it, who decide on a star and on a champion. And we, as you say, really felt it in the arena tonight. Is he potentially the catalyst for Bellator to go perhaps onto mainstream CBS, to get him on big chat shows, which we perhaps haven't had so far from the fight?
Well, there is a plan in place for sure, and next year we are looking to do some specials with CBS and the parent network. But right now, I just want to enjoy this moment, and AJ enjoy this moment. But him fighting on big CBS, I'm sure CBS would love it. I'm sure AJ would love it. I'm sure it'd be good for everybody. So yeah, it's possible, and I'm sure that Showtime would love to have him fight on Showtime, and who knows, maybe he could become not just a linear star but a cable star, and then he could just take it from there. I mean, pay-per-view is a possibility. He told me he wants to box, so we'll see. I mean, maybe he could fight one of the Paul brothers one day.
But it was a massive statement when he said he wants to be the Mayweather of MMA.
Yeah.
He's taken the first step to that.
Yep, he definitely has. I mean, you saw it. I mean, the crowd loved him. He's this kid is special, and he's not afraid of anything, and he rose to the occasion, and I think you're going to see that a lot in his future performances.
Hey, Scott, over here.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a lot about AJ, and he's just 26, so he's just coming into his physical prime. What do you see about him in terms of his growth as a fighter? And can you talk about the intangibles that he has? What makes him unique to handle this kind of pressure? I mean, he seemed totally at ease in this front of this crowd that expected him to win tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Josh, when I look at this kid, he's got striking, he's got the wrestling, he's got the jiu-jitsu, he's a complete fighter, and he's been that way for a beat, you know, for a while. I think for the last 4, 5, 6 fights, and so you know he was ready to take this step. I think a little while ago, but you know, when you look at what is his weakness, you know, even I talked to his coaches before the fight, maybe a month ago, and they said this is going to be a tough fight because the kid has no weaknesses. Even they recognize that anything can happen. Pitbull is dangerous. He's got a lot of power. You know, he's always, you know, as far as I'm concerned, when I watch his performance in the past, he's never out of a fight. I mean, this kid has dynamite in both hands, and a great submission game. So, you know, when I think about, you know, AJ and his game, it's going to be a tough kid to beat in the future, and this is the future of MMA. A kid that can do it all like this. And you know, Josh, you know, he's been doing this since he's 3, 4 years old. He grew up in the gym. This is nothing new for him. So, you know, he's special, and his dad told me when he came into my office, you know, 5, 6 years ago, he said, "This is the kid. He's special. I'm telling you right now." And you know, he is right. The dad knew it. It's just part of his destiny.
Hey, doing, Scott. This is just a simple question, but can you confidently say, with regardless of promotion, is AJ McKee the best featherweight in the world?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would love to see him fight, you know, against other people as well as you guys would. Also, it's not going to happen because it's not the UFC's business model to do it. But you tell me this kid couldn't go in there and fight anybody right now. We already know, everybody knows he could do it. So if they want to get it on, then we'll do it in a second. So that's how I feel.
All right, great. Thanks for the time,
Okay,
Scott.
thanks, guys.